All right, back on a Monday night here on Open Line, and we are talking about addressing mental health needs of Tennesseans. And what a year it's been. The needs are great, no doubt about it. Our two guests are with us. The Commissioner of the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, Marie Williams, and also the CEO of Mental Health America, the Mid-South, Tom Starling. Let's get right to the phones. We got a couple of callers. I don't want them to hold for too long. We'll go first to Ann. Hi, Ann. Welcome to Open Line.
Yes. My youngest daughter has lived in New York since the very first of COVID, and she's coming in for an extended stay, and she's dealing, quite honestly, with PTSD. And I'm just interested in where I can turn to for support for me and how to deal with her and her emotions, because she has dealt with trauma herself in her own life and has just finally come to terms with that. And now she's dealing with what New York has gone through, because she has seen the worst of COVID.
Yeah.
And frankly, Tennessee is rampant with it, and she's coming straight into the thick of it here in Tennessee. And it's a tough battle. And
yeah. How old is your daughter, Ann?
She's 34.
34.
But she's dealt with a lot in her lifetime.
Sure.
And COVID right now, it has been a traumatic thing.
Is she right in New York City?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, right in the heart of it. Okay. Is she seeking any help right now? Is she getting any help?
Yes. As a matter of fact, when she was in high school, she suffered a very violent assault. Oh. And she didn't really deal with that as well as she should until she walked across America 4 years ago. And she did that by herself, and it was a healing experience. She filmed it, and that's why she's coming to Nashville. Her film's been picked up for distribution, and it's the end of a process, and she's coming home, and she's going to spend some time here. But she has been in New York through this whole episode, and it's been hard.
Sure.
And she is suffering with some of the worst of the side effects that you can have if you've been exposed to COVID.
Sure. All right, let's listen in and see what our guests have to say. Great call, Ann. Thank you for sharing that story. Tom, you want to start?
Sure. So that's exactly what MHA does, is the healthcare navigation to help folks find the right care at the right time. And there's a couple of things you could do aside from going to the Mental Health America website. You could actually go to MHAscreening.org, and I suggest to take a screening. We have 10 anonymous, free, evidence-based screenings at MHAscreening.org, and you could take one on depression, trauma, addictions, anxiety. There's even one on workplace wellness. I take that one every Monday morning. But seriously, once you take the screening, it doesn't give you a full diagnosis, but then you know what you're dealing with. And on the back end, it actually has a list of supports. It will guide you to someone you can make an appointment with. If you don't want to do that, it gives you tips on how to share your screening with a parent, a caregiver, a friend, a professional. If you don't want to do that, it actually has resources that are do-it-yourself protocols and exercises, things that you can do to start building up your resiliency and your mental health. And that's where I would start, either by calling us here at Mental Health America or going to our website and taking us.
Okay, I think his screen just froze up a little bit there. Marie, let me just ask you this. Obviously, it's important, the strides that Tennessee has made, as you mentioned, the investments Tennessee has made in recent years to get the infrastructure, get it all set up. But also, I would venture to guess that just the next challenge is getting the word out and letting Tennesseans know, hey, this is available for you, right?
You're so right about that. Again, if you look at the Tennesseans that we have touched, 39,000 Tennesseans that are struggling with mental health issues have been touched. If you look at the prevalence data, Rory, on the estimated number of uninsured in our state, it's right at 44,000. So you can see we're making great strides on this, very great strides. Another thing that I'd say to Ann, in addition to what Tom has said, she talked about her own concerns about her ability to speak and be supportive of her daughter. One thing that we'd really recommend is to also look into the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill. Jeff Fladen is a good friend of ours, and he's the executive director at NAMI, which really does work with family members who have loved ones that are diagnosed with mental illness and are on a path to recovery. As it relates to her daughter herself, who's coming here, after the screening that Tom's talked about, I would really encourage them to look at the Tennessee Association of Mental Health Organizations website. All you got to do is just type that in, Tennessee Association of Mental Health Organizations. They have a really great drop box that's very user-friendly, where you can type in your address and find out who is there that's available to see you. If her daughter does not have insurance, obviously she could benefit from the behavioral health safety net. If she does have insurance, or if she has Medicaid, my friend Stephen Smith, who's the Medicaid director here in our state, they also use the TAMHO network to provide services. And then finally, the Tennessee Mental Health Consumers Association. Anthony Fox is the executive director of that group. And these are actually peer members, people that are diagnosed with mental health issues themselves, and they are out there working with peers to help support them on their road to recovery. And the TAMHO group, the CEO there is Ellen Wilbur. And then finally, if anyone is listening and is struggling with substance use issues, we do have TADIS, the Tennessee Alcohol and Drug Abuse Services Group, and that is also Executive Director is Mary Linden. If you can't remember all that stuff, Rory, then go to our website. And all you got to do there is Google Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. And I'm telling you, you can find anything you need on that website. I see that you got it up right here, the tn.gov/behavioral health BHSN. So grateful that you put that up there. Thank you.
No problem. We're glad to spread the word. And I just want to say one thing about how important it is to have friends and family who are supportive, and the fact that Ann is proactive ahead of her daughter's visit and recognizes the stresses that her daughter and the challenges that she's faced, and she's being proactive in making sure that maybe her daughter has the services that she needs when she gets here.
You're absolutely right. So many times we get concerned about not knowing what to say or how to say it. I know that Tom's group, MHA, has so many wonderful things on their website that talks about how to talk to a loved one who is dealing with mental health concerns. But you're right, sometimes it just takes the person that knows the person to be willing to move forward and try to proact for them. Tom, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, connectedness is such a big protective factor when it comes to mental health. It doesn't matter if it's your mom, it doesn't matter if it's your faith community, a support group, your friends. Even nowadays, you can see during the pandemic, the pet shops are sold out. People just need to connect for good mental health. And, Zooming is better than a phone call, but in person is even better than that.
And I'm guilty. I have a pandemic puppy at home that I got back in June. I went to a rescue and got a puppy. So, and he's great. He's my best bud. So it's helped a lot.
Awesome.
Rory, what kind of puppy?
He's a mutt. Mom was a lab mix,
He's
dad
a mutt.
unknown. I'm going to have to do that DNA test on him, but he's a really good dog, and he's been a great companion. So.
Great. That's wonderful. Good for you.
We're going to go ahead and take another break right now because we got another caller on hold. And just to remind folks, we've got wide open lines if you'd like to call in. If you have a question or comment, 737+ is the phone number. So we'll take our next caller when we get back from this break. And also want to talk to you all a little bit about the stigma surrounding mental health in the year 2020. We're going to talk more about that with our guests when we return. Stay with us.